Howdy folks, today I'd like to talk to you about something very dear to my heart, classic cars and legislation that is endangering them. Now you've probably heard of the so-called clunker bills that have been proposed, as well as the car allowance rebate system, otherwise known as CARS, that President Obama passed a couple years ago. Now, do they really work, or do they do more harm than good and take automotive history and heritage off the road and away from future generations, all while driving up the cost of car ownership? Now, if you think about it, the idea behind clunker laws is admirable. To take smog emitting gas guzzlers off the road and replace them with more clean burning and fuel efficient vehicles. They should also help automakers boost their sales and therefore help the economy. The CARS program also had a provision that only allowed the purchase of American cars. Now, this all sounds like great news, right? But when you think about the fact that some perfectly usable cars would be taken off the road, and what about lower income drivers that are scared of mortgage payments, let alone a new car payment? There is also concern that the automotive parts business would be adversely affected because many good, usable parts would be lost forever and therefore drive up the cost to maintain cars. It's also possible that these programs may not really help car sales either, because they could just shift sales from one time a year to another. In the case of the CARS program, this was proven. Car buyers that would have bought anyway just decided to buy earlier in the year because of the incentives. Now, what about the provision to only allow American cars to be purchased with clunker money? Unfortunately, in the end, foreign cars were allowed into the CARS program, so that wasn't much help either. And then there is, to me, the most important aspect of clunker laws, the classic car culture of America. Now, I know what you're thinking. What's so classic about a 1994 Ford Crown Victoria, right? Well, think about it. In 1965, there was nothing collectible or classic about a 49 Ford. And yet, today it's such a desirable car that many would be willing to mortgage their house just to own one. It's just short-sightedness to think that nobody will ever want a particular car. Now, I'd like to show you a few examples of what could be done with the average used car that could be lost forever because of clunker laws. First, we have the aforementioned 94 Ford. Certainly nothing special about it, is there? But what happens when an especially resourceful guy gets a hold of it? He takes a 49 Buick that was saved from a crusher years ago, and now you have a rolling piece of art that combines old style with modern technology and still gets 25 miles per gallon on a highway. Pretty cool, huh? Now, our next one, we have a 1985 Buick Century. Boring and useless, right? But with just a little work, you could have this, and it still gets almost 30 miles per gallon on the highway. That's better than many new cars out there. Now, it may not be what your tastes are, but I think it's pretty cool, and I'm sure there's others out there that do too. Now, unfortunately, I don't have an aftershock for this one, because this great 90s Buick Roadmaster wagon has been lost forever because of the CARS program. Now, I had the pleasure of working at Buick dealership in the late 90s. I can tell you from personal experience that there aren't any better family cars out there than these beautiful pieces of American steel. These cars got over 24 miles per gallon and are truly a joy to drive. Now, is it really worth losing these classics for future generations just to save a couple miles per gallon? Now, here is my personal pride and joy, of course next to my family. Now, someone long ago had the forethought to save this beautiful 53 Chrysler, and now I'm enjoying it today. By the way, I have gotten 22 miles per gallon, and it has passed smog emissions. So, please, the next time you hear talk of another clunker bill, please think about those out there that truly love cars and what your children might lose in the future. After all, any car can be made cool, from a 32 Ford to a Pinto. It just takes someone with a creative mind who wants to contribute to the economy by saving what could be a classic. Thank you.